Jordan. Don't clap, you haven't heard me talk yet, but thanks for showing up. You know, one thing I know about Americans is Americans hate being told what to do. We have this stubborn streak in us, and the idea that Washington says we're going to keep taxing, we're going to keep spending, we're going to keep borrowing, and we just can't stand it. I mean, think about the typical American driving down the highway, sees the sign 55. For most Americans, that's not the limit, that's the challenge. I mean, that's just the way we look. We have this stubborn, tough streak in us that is evident today. This is my third tea party I've done today. Thank you, Tom. Great comments. We appreciate what you had to say. Thank you all the ladies who put this together and all of you for coming. That's my third one today. And it's great to see Americans standing up across this country saying, just as Tom said, enough is enough. We're tired of all the spending, all the borrowing, all the taxing. What makes our country great? A lot of things. The good Lord has been so kind. His grace has been amazing on this country. Great freedoms and liberties we have. But in the end, what really makes us special is the idea that parents will sacrifice so that their kids can have life a little better than they did. And then they, in turn, will do the same thing for their children. And each new generation does that. And it's how we became the greatest nation in history. How many of you believe that? I want to thank you. Teddy Roosevelt said this. Teddy Roosevelt said, I preach not the life of ease, but rather the life of strenuous effort. Far better to dare mighty dreams, to attempt glorious triumphs, even though checkered by defeat, than to live in that gray twilight which knows neither victory nor defeat. I want to thank you all today for coming out, for getting off the sidelines. Something Americans have been doing for 200 plus years. Started in 1773 in Boston Harbor, a few years later with the Declaration of Independence that Tom recited, that preamble. It continues today, getting off the sidelines, getting out of the shadows, getting out of the twilight, stepping into the game, because it's in the game where things of meaning and significance take place. And hundreds of thousands of Americans across this country today are doing the very same thing you're doing. And it's that important. Just like in 1776, I tell people the words Tom quoted from the Declaration, next to Scripture, the greatest words ever put on paper. Where the founders wrote, we hold these truths to be self-evident, all are created equal, endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's interesting to note the order they place those rights. You cannot pursue happiness. You cannot pursue your goals and your dreams, those things that have meaning and significance to you and your family, if you don't have liberty, if you don't have freedom. The two words we most associate with this country, liberty and freedom. And I want to tell you today, liberty is under assault from the United States government. You hate to say that, but think about the actions your Congress, your federal government is taking right now. I just want to talk real quickly, 5 quick things. First of all, haven't you heard the legislation called card check? This idea, now think about this idea that we're going to tell an employee, if you want to vote to form a collective bargaining unit, you want a union at your place of work, that's fine. But you should be able to do that with a secret ballot. They should not take away the right to a secret ballot you have. It's an attack on liberty. This budget that was passed 2 weeks ago, a second attack on liberty. Money set aside in that budget, your tax dollars set aside in that budget to now further nationalize health care. Think about this. Health care decisions should be between you and your family and your physician, not some board in Washington. Cap and trade. This concept which will disproportionately hurt Ohio manufacturing. Ohio. This idea that we're going to limit the amount of freedom we have in our economy, put this artificial limit on the type of energy we can use, a direct attack on liberty. And the two we really are focused on this afternoon, taxes and spending. The budget that was passed 2 weeks, I actually offered, imagine this, I offered a budget 2 weeks ago that actually balanced. Think about that. There were five budgets offered, and ours was the only one that actually balanced. Did something that you and your family, you as a small business owner, have to do all the time. And ours balanced in the out year. This budget contains the largest tax increase in history. Again, a direct attack on liberty. When government takes more and more of your money, you have less and less to spend on your kids and your grandkids, your goals and your dreams. And the worst thing about this budget, the largest increase in spending in the nation's history. Think about this fact. You've probably all heard this. In the next 6 years, this administration will add more to the national debt than the previous 43 presidents combined. I say it this way, from George to George, from Washington to Bush, we didn't pile up as much debt as this administration is going to do in the next 6 years. $23 trillion we will take the national debt to in the next 10 years. Think about this.
Sick.
$23 trillion. To pay that off, you first have to get to balance, which our budget did, and our budget didn't do it till the out years. You first have to get to balance. Then you have to run $1 trillion surplus for 23 straight years, and that doesn't even count the interest, which just tells you how bad this is and why what we're doing today across this country is so important. Let me just finish with a couple things here. Jefferson had a great line. He said, when the people fear the government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there is liberty. Ask yourself this question. Tomorrow, if you're at your house or at your place of work and you get a knock at the door, you go answer the door, and there's a gentleman standing there, and he says, hello, I'm Joe, and I'm from the IRS. Is your first response, oh joy, one of my public servants is here to help me today? I mean, think about it. That's what this is all about. As we keep government small, freedom and liberty expand, that's what we got to be, folks. This is a great country. It's the greatest nation ever. More liberties for our people and more people around the world because of the United States and the United States military. Greatest nation in history. It's important we stay positive as we move forward and make sure our kids and grandkids can enjoy the great things we've enjoyed in this country. Great country. Think we saw it this weekend. Captain Phillips and these Navy SEALs. We saw it a few months ago. We saw it a few months ago when Sully landed that airplane in the Hudson River. We saw it a few years ago when Wesley Autry jumped in front of the train to save a complete stranger simply because they were a fellow human being. We've seen courageous things from Americans for 200 plus years. We are seeing it today all over this country, and we're going to prevail. We're going to get our government back, and we're going to be the right things that are going to get done so our kids and grandkids can enjoy the greatness of America. Be positive. I'll close with this. You all know the old story. I've shared it before. You've read it before. When the Israelites were camped against the Philistines, and every day the Philistine giant would walk out and issue the challenge, who will fight Goliath? The Israelites' response was, he's so big we can never defeat him. But David's response was, he's so big I can't miss. That's it. God bless you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Representative Jim Jordan. He has to leave now, but could I get you all to shout him out?